Sorry,
Okay.
McArthur, you cut out there for a second. Can you say that
Yeah,
again?
yeah. I don't know what happened right there. And I'm just saying, I'm just like tired because people
Oh,
didn't show up
sorry.
for like weekend shift, so I
Oh
like had to cover for
no.
them.
Yeah. Hopefully you got paid extra, like
Yeah,
overtime or something.
yeah.
Gosh,
Got
that
time and a
stinks.
half. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's that time of year where like people get sick and stuff though too, but I don't know, like everything gets hectic, I feel like this time of year with the holidays and whatnot anyway. But then like people are getting the flu and stuff and so that stinks. That's hard on you though because you're picking up the slack.
Yeah, it's not the funnest thing. It's though I'm just like at
Yeah.
least my paycheck's gonna look a little bit bigger.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Alrighty. So let's see. All right, as we're diving in, I'm just looking back at what we've been working on. What would you say is your main goal for today? The thing that you want to try to accomplish in this session or that you would really love to improve on?
Oh, um, okay. I would say because this is like one thing I was like I guess going over in my head is for the introductory chapter, like before
Yeah.
chapter one. So I started like the introduction from like where it has the header unearthing haunted towns all the way
Hmm.
down to like the fascination with haunted towns. So I started that with like I guess kind of like my spooky, scary voice, but then like the fascination with the haunted towns, like the rest of that like kind of chapter, I kind of did more in like a normal, informal voice. Would you
Yeah.
say that like works? Because I was like, this feels more informal. Uh,
Yeah.
but then I also am like, I feel like this might be the only section, probably besides like the ending, that might be within that. Is like the be kind of like the beginning and the ending would like be those two sections that would like be in a normal voice. Would you think that would like that wouldn't sound like weird to like a reader that's like trying to listen to it?
I don't think so. I think that consistency is important. So, whatever you choose to do, keeping that pretty consistent throughout the book is important. You can change a little bit for different sections. You know, if there's a clear shift in the book, like a different section with a little bit of a different perspective or whatnot. Um, but yeah, I would say generally it's more of a consistency that's important. So whatever choice you make, trying to stay with it. But
Okay.
no, I don't think that that would be weird. I think that sounding more like casual and friendly, like you're just talking to somebody, I feel like that is actually kind of trending. Like people want to feel like you're genuine and that you're actually talking to them. So I hear that quite a lot. Um, I think that sometimes it can sound a little too polished, you
Mm,
know, that I think in the past I saw a lot more of that like very polished kind of sound. And then now I think not all projects, but a lot of projects, they want it to sound more casual, more authentic, more friendly, um, like a real person talking to a friend.
right.
So I think that's perfectly fine if that's your choice for it. So I always kind of look at what it is I'm working on and figure out what do I feel like is the goal here for this particular project because it's going to change from project to project, right? So, for instance, I'm working on a book for University Press right now. And it's very academic. It's very like research and history, and it's very academic sounding. I have to look up words about every sentence.
Gotcha.
Um, and that's one that they want it to sound more formal, more think like university professor giving a lecture kind of a sound,
Mm.
right? So they're doing a presentation on something they've been researching, that kind of sound. So for that, I do sound more formal and more just very clean, very clear, very succinct. I do try to still make it sound like I'm interested in what I'm reading because it's something that is uh it's so long too. I want people to feel like they're connected and interested in what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
and I do think some of it's really interesting. Like I've learned a lot from it. Um, and like some of it, makes me feel very indignant or like upset, like how they treated the Native Americans, those kind of things. I'm like, oh, you suck, you know? But I don't make it sound like, gosh, you suck. Instead, I just make it sound very serious in those sections. And then in other parts, maybe I sound like it's more happy and exciting.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
but I still sound very formal and clean and clear throughout. So it's a more polished presentation, whereas I had a different one that was completely, completely different. There's like a British lady who is like a big boss babe, basically, and she like has men as her maids and secretaries and is very like talking down to them, and she has
Mm.
fun like being this like big bad boss babe and you know being like, man, lick my toes and wash this floor clean is like her attitude. So
Gotcha.
that's a very different vibe, right?
Yeah.
So for that one, I had to, play up the character voices for one. I had to um, put a lot more emotion into it. It's like very dramatic storytelling. So that's extremely different. Like the style is going to be very, very different. Um, so you have to look at the project you're working on and go, what do they need, right? Um, Another project I did not too long ago, I was like, they were turning a comic book series into like a radio drama version. And I was playing like the main young adult, like kick-ass girl, right? And so like I was doing her character, and she has like a little bit of a Hispanic accent, and she's just like very like strong, young adult female, like making her way in the world. And it's like danger and excitement and action, and there's like a lab doing chemical things that's bad and we hate them. And then I also played like a couple random small female characters in there too, or like, I'd make like five different crowd voices to like holler things all at once,
Mm.
things like that. Um, so that was again a very different vibe because one, she's so young. Two, she has a slight Hispanic accent. Three, she's like, sneaking around, like doing spy-like things. And so very different, and it's like scary a little bit sometimes. Then you have relief, but she's like this really strong female lead character. And I feel like all of those had, very, very different energy, different vibes to them. A few months back, I played a grandma in a thing, and that was just like very endearing and sweet. And so all of these have a different energy, a different like character attitude to them. So your job is to figure out what do I want for this project, and then you have to keep it consistent. So you figure out what's appropriate for that particular project. A lot of the time they'll tell you. If they don't, then you decide. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So with what we know, what would you say are the sounds that if you were the director that you would want to hear, that you would be like, I want to hear this, this, and this?
I would definitely say I would want to hear like for each chapter, like I would want it to be in a more like spooky, scary
Mm-hmm.
sense voice.
Yeah.
And then I would definitely say like once you get out of the chapters, like how
Yeah.
the not conclusion is the conclusion. Yeah, okay. So like how the conclusion is like it goes back into more of like, hey, this is like what we learned and like this is like what we left off. I would want like those type sections to kind of be in a more friendlier voice. Like I feel like all right, we're leaving the like we're not no longer in those haunted areas anymore because I feel like the spooky voice kind of like enhances like the section that you're in of like, hey, we're in this haunted area and we're gonna learn about it. So that's why I would want you to have the spooky voice. But then like when we're kind of like the introduction and how we're kind of leaving it, it's like all right, now we're no longer in there. We're like the tour guide on the bus. Now we're gonna like go over everything that we've kind of learned. So I would want them to have more of like a normal, I guess, friendlier tone of voice and more informal tone of voice within those sections.
Yeah. Love it. Good. Okay. So you have a very clear vision. You know exactly what you want to be hearing, right?
Right.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. So then that's the plan. That's what you're going to do throughout, right? You're smart. You kind of know what you expect to hear for that kind of a book, right? So you're going to go ahead and follow that plan then. Yeah?
Okay. Copy that. Copy
All
that.
right. So do you want to work on the book or do you want to work on something else?
Oh, I still work on the book just so I don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So let's pull up the next section that you need to get recorded. And we'll take a look there and we're going to work on that. Um, Again, consistency. Whatever you start with, you're going to keep consistent throughout as the narrator. Character voices, if you have those, I don't think you do, but if you have those, you keep them consistent. Whatever you choose to do, you're keeping it consistent. All right?
All right. Copy that. Okay. Cool. So we be chapter 2 then. Savannah. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's okay. Yeah. I also should have asked this too. Is when I'm recording, do I say like chapter 2 Savannah? Like, would I say that, or would just start with Southern Elegance and Eerie Encounters?
Mm. You're going to read the chapter title
Okay.
and the name of the chapter each time.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, if
All right.
it's so whatever is written in the script that they give you, you always just read it exactly that way. If they
Okay.
want you to not say chapter titles, they'll tell you that. Um, and usually they're supposed to give you like a script or a transcript that is exactly what they want said. But if there are things they want left out, they'll tell you that. So anything that's there, you're going to read it usually. I would say table of contents, we always skip. If there's like copyright information in the book, you'll skip that. But pretty much otherwise, you read just about everything. If I'm not told otherwise, I even read at the end where it's like about the author and like other books by this author, and list those out. Like if I'm not told not to do it, then I'm gonna do it. Do I
Okay.
think people are gonna listen to it? Probably not. I mean, when I'm listening to audiobooks, I get to like the dedication and things at the end, and I'm like, or like the acknowledgments, like thank you to this person, this person, this person. I'm like, okay, bye.
I feel you on that. I feel you on that.
But
All
if
right.
it's in the transcript they give you, usually you read everything. So that's the rule of thumb. If they don't want you reading the chapter titles, they'll tell you.
Okay. Okay. So, chapter 2 Savannah, Southern Elegance and Eerie Encounters. Savannah, Georgia, is a city of unparalleled charm and beauty, known for its historic district, antebellum architecture, and quintessential Southern hospitality. But beneath its genteel exterior lies a city with a hauntingly rich history, where the past and the paranormal coexist and a captivating dance of elegance and eerie encounters. And this in this chapter, we'll delve into the captivating stories of Savannah, a place where the supernatural weaves its enigmatic tapestry amidst the moss-draped oaks and cobblestone streets. The Mercer Williams house, midnight in the garden. Our journey into Savannah's ghostly secrets begins with the visit to the Mercer Williams house, made famous in John Burnett's best-selling book, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. This grand mansion, designed by noted architecture John S. Norris in the 19th century, is renowned not only for its architectural beauty, but for the enigmatic spirits that are said to reside within its walls. As we explore the Mercer Williams house, we'll unravel the mysteries of the Mercer family, the tragic story of Jim Williams, and the unexplained phenomenon that have been reported by those who have crossed its threshold. Ghostly apparitions, eerie footsteps, and the lingering sense of the past have made this mansion a focal point for Savannah's spectral tales. Colonial Park Cemetery, Tales of Restless Spirits. Colonial Park Cemetery, located in the heart of Savannah's historic district, is a place where the dead rest beneath ancient oak trees surrounded by historic markers and aged tombstones. But it's not a place of eternal peace. Rather, it is said to be a resting ground for restless spirits. We'll delve into the history of the cemetery, which dates back to the 18th century, and explore the tales of spectral encounters that visitors have reported, from phantom figures wandering among the grave to inexplicable sounds and eerie sensations. Colonial Park Cemetery serves as a stark reminder that the line between the living and the dead in Savannah is often blurred.
Okay, so a lot of good things that I'm hearing there. Um, all right. Um, One thing I would say, I did feel like there was a pretty big difference in the way that you read the chapter title and the book section, like the main chunk of it. And I don't know how I feel about that. How do you feel about it?
After saying it, like I definitely feel like it took me out
Yeah,
for
it felt a little jarring. Like I
yeah.
was like, "Oh, like
Uh,
such a big shift suddenly." It just sort of like disconnected me for a second. So like what you're saying that um it pulled you out. So I feel like I'm not sure I would do that big of a difference because it did make me feel disconnected and it felt a little bit jarring. I would say for narration, especially because it is such like big passages, we it's a different style than like a commercial where it's like high energy,
mm,
peppy, fast. Um, really, quick. You fit as much as you can in a short section, or with characters, it's going to be more, theatrical and creating those characters. Um, for narration, it's something people are listening to usually for a long stretch. Maybe they're on a long car ride. Maybe they're like at the gym working out and they're just playing it in the background. So I feel like it's more of a you set a mood and then you keep that flow kind of.
mm,
And I would say it tends to be a little bit slower, a little more flowing, um, and it's gonna be again pretty consistent throughout with the style. So I think it was too much. It was sort of like jarring and alarming
mm.
feeling. when there was such a sharp shift. I was like, whoa. Um, so yeah, I think I would probably try to keep those a little more like similar and consistent throughout.
God.
Yeah,
Okay,
can we
so
try
would
that
you
again?
say okay,
Yeah.
would you say like for the whole like introduction before chapter 1, would you say I should do that in the spooky voice or do that in a normal voice? And then like once I hit chapter 1 throughout like the whole narration of the book until I get to the conclusion, then would I switch over or would like the whole introduction to conclusion be
Yeah,
within
I
that
would
voice?
probably keep it all the same.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only, so I usually, so here's what I typically do, just because of vocal fatigue and whatnot. I usually keep my narration in my regular voice. And yeah, I might like make it flow a little bit differently or something. I don't like create a character voice, but I might
Right.
like do a lower part of my voice or like a little bit higher. Um, or I'll maybe go a little faster, a little slower, depending on the like energy and style. Um, but I usually just stay pretty much in my regular voice because that way it's not too fatiguing for the narration. And then if I have character voices, I will do full-on character voices for that. But anything that's narration, I pretty much just have like this is what I'm doing and I stay with it.
Mm,
And like for that highly academic one, I have almost like a hint of a transatlantic dialect, and then I have very crisp, clean diction throughout. Um, and I make sure I go slow enough that the complex words that we don't hear every day, which are often in there, that those are very clear. So that's my consistent vibe throughout. Um, for the one with the like boss babe who's like cracking the whip, that one I did a little bit more like sassy attitude throughout and like I'm the queen of the world, you know?
right.
For the one with the girl, like I guess I wasn't a narrator for that. Okay, what's another that I've worked on here recently? Okay, what about like a Hallmarky, Christmassy, like love story?
Mm,
For that, it's more of like bright and cheery and hopeful and like, ABC family-esque, like or like
gotcha.
Hallmark Channel-y. It was not a Hallmark book, but it was like that vibe. Um, so I, was
If
like
you're ever on a
bright and
Hallmark book, you gotta
cheerful.
tell me so I can get it. I'm a big Hallmark fan.
I love Hallmark. Yeah.
Like everybody says, oh, they're the same movies. I'm like, yeah, but sometimes on that day you need a win. I'm like, I know I can go to
You need
Hallmark
a
and
win.
it's gonna
Yes.
be good. I know they're gonna fall in love, or I know they're gonna
You
find
get
the
the
bad
happy
guy.
ending.
I need
Yes.
a win. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. It's great. Yeah. So like that has a different like energy to it, right? So if you think of like different channels on TV, you're gonna have a different vibe for each. Like Disney Channel and Nickelodeon have a slightly different vibe. ABC
Mm,
Family, Hallmark, Lifetime Movies, HGTV,
mm,
ESPN, they all have a different energy and a different vibe. So you can think of your books kind of the same way, where you're like, okay, what's the energy here? What's the sort of like feeling that we get from this. Yeah. So like if I
right.
was doing like an action adventure like sports book like about a sports action adventure romance that's like a football series, which I have done in the past, then I'm gonna give that, like when I'm the guy who's like playing football and like, when he's in the game and stuff, he's got to have that like laser focus and like get your head in the game and like he's got to be the like strong athlete guy conquering the
Mm,
world. And then like, the girl has her own stuff going on. So with that one, for that example, like when I'm in the guy chapters, I have his kind of energy and then I switch the energy when I'm in the girl chapters when it's from her perspective. Um, so that would be an example of a time where I like change the energy a little bit.
right.
Yeah, but I still like the full chapter needs to be consistent. And for something like this, where it's just like facts, I
Right.
would say just keep it the same throughout the whole book. So the chapter titles, the introduction, all of it, I would just kind of keep in the same energy throughout. Yeah.
Copy that.
One thing
Copy
I would
that.
say for you too is you tend to like to go faster, which I totally get because I'm the same way. I catch myself all the time. I'm like, slow down, crazy girl. Um, and I have to remind myself to slow down. So I would say, especially because this is that like spooky towns in America, here are true stories of haunted towns, you know. Um, I would say like it's gonna be slower because it is that spooky effect, right? Like we're sneaking around and there are shadows around every corner.
Right. I
You
got
know, and
you.
you keep your voice low because you don't want to awaken the evil spirits.
True
Ooh,
point. True
right?
point.
So it's like you're telling a spooky story around a campfire. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to build the suspense, you let it drag out a little bit more. Yeah. So slow it down a little bit too. All right, let's try
Okay.
that again.
Chapter 2, Savannah, Southern Elegance and Eerie Encounters. Savannah, Georgia is a city of unparalleled charm and beauty, known for its historic district, antebellum architecture, and quintessential Southern hospitality. But beneath its gentle exterior lies a city with a hauntingly rich history, where the past and the paranormal coexist in a captivating dance of elegance and eerie encounters. In this chapter, we'll delve into the captivating stories of Savannah, a place where the supernatural weaves its enigmatic tapestry amidst the moss-draped oaks and cobblestone streets. The Mercer Williams house, Midnight in the Garden, our journey into Savannah's ghostly encounters. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
The Mercer Williams house, Midnight in the Garden, our journey
It's okay. So what I do is like if I'm recording and I fumble or whatnot, I just stop where I'm at, delete the flub up, push record, and start again at that same spot. Like, back up a little bit, delete what I flubbed up on, and then go back and start that again.
the Mercer Williams house, Midnight in the Garden. Our journey into Savannah's ghostly secrets begins with the visit to the Mercer Williams house. Made famous in John Burnet's best-selling book, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. This grand mansion, designed by noted architect John S. Norris in the 19th century, is renowned not only for his architectural beauty, but for the
That's totally messed that
Okay.
up.
Back up a little bit, try again.
this grand mansion, designed by noted architect John S. Norris in the 19th century, is renowned not only for its architectural beauty, but for the enigmatic spirits that are said to reside within its walls. As we explore the Mercer Williams house, we'll unravel the mysteries of the Mercer family, the tragic story of Jim Williams, and the unexplained phenomenon that have been reported by those who have crossed its threshold. Ghostly apparitions, eerie footsteps, and the lingering sense of the past have made this mansion a focal point for Savannah spectral tales. Colonial Park Cemetery tells of restless spirits. Colonial Park Cemetery, located in the heart of Savannah's historic district, is a place where the dead rest beneath ancient oak trees, surrounded by historic markers and aged tombstones. But it is not a place of eternal peace. Rather, it is said to be a resting ground for restless spirits. We'll delve into the history of the cemetery, which dates back to the 18th century, and explore the tales of spectral encounters that visitors have reported. From phantom figures wandering among the graves to inexplicable sounds and eerie sensations, Colonial Park Cemetery serves as a stark reminder that the line between the living and the dead in Savannah is often blurred.
Nice. Good. Okay. I thought that was really good. What did you think of it?
I liked it, except for like all the fumbling, but it was. But
I
I did
thought it
like it.
was good. Honestly, the fumbles are not a big deal. They really, really aren't. You're able to redo all kinds of stuff. So it doesn't matter. So I would say, if you're practicing for a play where you have to, have everything memorized and get everything perfect in the performance, that's a different approach. But even then, you're going to have flub ups and it's not a big deal. We just then go, okay, I flubbed up, and you just recover quickly and keep going. Um,
Copy that.
yeah, I would say for this, it doesn't matter. It's something that you prepare the best you can, and then you just go, okay, now here's where it's at, and then you do your best, but you're still going to make mistakes. Everyone does. And so then you just in the moment go, oops, I flubbed up, go back, redo it, and it's okay, you know?
Understandable. Understandable.
So, yeah, I think having little flub ups, that's not something to get upset with yourself about because it's absolutely normal and just part of the process. Yeah.
Copy that. Copy that.
Yeah, so you don't have to like feel weird about it or like, ah man, I suck, because you don't. I do it literally every day. So so you can just be like, okay. It happens. Be like, I mean, Vandy does it too. So like, no big deal. Right?
Will do. Will do. All right. Gotcha.
Alrighty. So let's go ahead and um I mean, I do practice before I record. Like I'll read through silently once, I'll read through out loud once, just like reading it, getting the words in my mouth, kind of wrapping my head around it. And then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna like try it the way I want to with like the attitude, the inflection, so I'll probably go through it a few times, and try to like wrap my head around it, practice it. But then at some point, I just sort of go, okay, I feel like, I've pretty much got it. And so then I'll just go through it and, try to record it. And if I flub up, I just, back up, redo it.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So, yeah. So, do you want to try that one again, or do you feel like you know what to do with it? And do you want to move on to the next chunk?
I feel like I know what to do with that one. We can move on
Okay.
to the next chunk.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Next header.
Haunted stories from the historic district. The historic district of Savannah.
Wow. Wait. Oh man. Oh.
That's okay.
Oh. I feel like none of that was coming out right. Oh. All right. Okay.
Haunted stories from the historic district. The historic district of Savannah is filled with beautifully preserved buildings and squares, but is also the backdrop for numerous ghostly encounters, from the Keogh House, where the spirits of the I don't think I'm saying the name right.
That's okay.
Kehoe. Wait. Now I gotta look it up. Kehoe House. I feel like I'm saying it right because I've looked it up before, but now I'm like second
I
guessing
do the
myself.
same thing. I'll look it up and then I come back to it later. I'm like, wait a minute. I already looked this up, but I forgot. Or I like second guess myself and I'm like, I better look it up again. I do that all the time.
Kehoe. See, I knew I was saying it right. Kehoe. I was like, I know I'm saying it, but it just sounded so different. I don't know. Okay.
In
We're
your
trying
head,
to,
you're like,
yeah.
wait a minute.
I was like, Kehoe. I'm like, that sounds right. Okay. Okay. Back from the beginning. Run it back.
Haunted stories from the historic district. The historic district of Savannah is filled with beautifully preserved buildings and squares, but it is also the backdrop for numerous ghostly encounters, from the Kehoe House, where the spirits of the Kehoe children are said to play, to the 1790 Inn and restaurant, home to one of the city's most famous ghosts, Anna Powers. The stories of the hauntings and eerie occurrences in the city are as diverse as they are haunting. In this chapter, we'll explore the rich history of Savannah, its charming streets, and the countless tales of ghostly apparitions, unexplained sounds, and inexplicable phenomenon that have become an integral part of the city's fabric. As we journey through the southern elegance and eerie encounters of Savannah, we come to appreciate the complex relationship between history, beauty, and the supernatural in one of the most haunted cities in America.
Good. Okay, good. So, do you feel like um sometimes I feel like it sounds a little bit like you're thinking about what you're saying. And we want it to get to where it sort of effortlessly flows, that it just sort of like flows out of you.
That's definitely how I was feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
Most
So I,
definite.
I think we just need to practice it a little bit more. Just because right now it feels a little bit like you're kind of thinking about what's coming next and did I say that right? Um, so we want it to get to where it just kind of flows naturally and it feels like right now it's not quite there yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So I guess like two words
sure.
that I wanted to kind of like make sure I said right. Integral,
Ah,
right?
integral.
Integral,
I
integral.
think it's
I've always
integral.
said that word wrong. Then, oh my gosh,
Like
integral,
integers, integral.
integral part,
But let me make sure.
integral. Because integral is Entegr.
Yeah, it's integral.
Integral. Okay.
Yeah.
Integral.
I was like, now I'm like second guessing if I'm right. So I was like, we better look it up.
Integral. Okay. And
Yeah.
then the
So
other
think like
one,
integer in math class, and it's integral.
integral. Becoming integral.
Yeah, I think when
Integral.
I was little, or like younger, I would say like integral. Like I wasn't sure, like
See,
integrity, you
that's
know?
like the other way I was thinking about saying it, but I'm like,
Yeah.
integral,
Yeah.
integral. That become an integral part. Okay. And then like the other one, I was like, do I say 1790 in or 1790 in? Because it's
Oh,
like,
yeah. So the year, like the date,
well,
I
I
I
don't know if
probably
it's the
just say
date.
like 1790.
Well, see, I don't know if it's a date because it's like to the and then it's the actual number 17 and then the actual word 100 between 17 and 90. Like it's like an address, it seems like. Because it's like to the
Oh, okay.
17 and then 100 and then 90 and then in, but
Yeah.
it's like all together. So like there's no space between 17 or 100 or no space between 100
Oh,
and
that's probably
90.
just like an editing thing or like
Okay, yeah.
a formatting thing. So I would just read it exactly as it's written then.
Okay, so 1790. Okay, gotcha.
Hmm.
I was like, do I say what 700? I was like, because it looks like an address, and I'm like, okay. I was like, I can get
Yeah.
down with that. All right. Okay. But yeah, I was definitely like, because it hit a part to where I heard my own voice change, and I was like,
Ah,
I was like, I don't know. I was like, wait, why did that happen? And I can't
yeah.
find it now. But like there was like one like a couple words that are like together that like just kind of like changed my voice. And I was like, whoa. I was like, why did I say all that like that after that part? Yeah, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. I was just like, huh? Okay, run it back. Run it back.
Haunted stories from the historic district. The historic district of Savannah is filled with beautifully preserved buildings and squares, but it is also the backdrop for numerous ghostly encounters, from the Keogh house, where the spirits of the Keogh children are said to play, to the 1700. I'm sorry. So that's just 1790. Okay. I don't know why that got me. I don't know why that's getting me. From the Keogh house, where the spirits of the Keogh children are said to play, to the 1790 inn and restaurant, home to one of the city's most famous ghosts, Anna Powers. The stories of hauntings and eerie occurrences in the city are as diverse as they are haunting. In this chapter, we'll explore the rich history of Savannah, its charming streets, and the countless tales of ghostly apparitions, unexplained sounds, and inexplicable phenomenon that have become an integral part of the city's fabric. As we journey through the southern elegance and the eerie encounters of Savannah, we come to appreciate the complex relationship between history, beauty, and the supernatural in one of the most haunted cities in America.
I think I definitely said that word wrong, and that felt really fast.
Okay, so let's try that section again.
And integral, integral.
Integral.
Slow it down. Haunted stories from the historic district. The historic district of Savannah is filled with beautifully preserved buildings and squares, but is also the backdrop for numerous ghostly encounters. From the Keogh house, where the spirits of the Keogh children are said to play, to the 1790 inn and restaurant, home to one of the city's most famous ghosts, Anna Powers. The stories of the hauntings and the eerie occurrences in the city are as diverse as they are haunting. In this chapter, we'll explore the rich history of Savannah, its charming streets, and the countless tales of ghostly apparitions, unexplained sounds, and inexplicable phenomenon that have become an integral part of the city's fabric. As we journey through the southern elegance and the eerie encounters of Savannah, we come to appreciate the complex relationship between history, beauty, and the supernatural in one of the most haunted cities in America.
Okay, what do you think of it?
It was a little bit better. It was a little
A
bit
little
better.
bit better?
It was, I was
So,
like,
yeah. So I still feel like there's a little bit of thinking, like you're, just like kind of going through and like processing as you go, which there's nothing wrong with per se.
yeah, yeah. I feel you on that. I feel you on that. I don't know what it is about this one. I got. Oh, I got this. I got this. 1790.
So where do you feel like are the parts that kind of like trip you up or hang you up that you get like maybe a little bit stuck or that you feel like you have to really think about what you're doing? What are those moments where you feel that?
Um, 1790 inn and restaurant, that part, and then like beautifully preserved buildings and squares. For some reason, like I just feel like I can say that phrase so much better.
Hmm.
And then like where it says eerie occurrences, and like I feel like I can say that better. Um, and then like after that, where is it? Of course, integral. I think I just got to get
Hmm.
used to saying that word.
Right. Yeah. So I honestly, I would just say it like 10 times in a row.
Yeah, like because
Yeah.
like
So what
that
I
messes.
recommend
Yeah.
is I want you to find those sections. So like identify where it's tricky, and then you're going
Mm,
to isolate that, practice reading it like 5 times, just
mm,
that spot that trips you up, and then you're going to like back up a little bit and go a little forward and like put it in the context of a little bit before through that section and then a little bit after. Words like integral that are just tricky, say them like 10 times in a row, then put them in the context and read it like 5 times, right? So isolate where it is, practice just that little spot because you don't need to practice all of it. You need to practice those spots. Yeah, so you're going to
gotcha.
practice those spots and then you're going to go through the whole thing again and record it. Now, if you fumble a little bit, it's okay. You can even like stop the recording, practice that spot in the moment, practice it a few times, and then push record again, go through that spot and continue. Yeah.
Mm, gotcha. Gotcha.
All right.
Copy
So
that.
isolate where you need to practice it. Yeah.
Copy that. Copy that.
Okay. Good. Nice work today, MacArthur.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Keep up the good work.
Excuse me.
And I'm excited to hear the recordings when you're done with them.
Gotcha. I got you. I gotta like go redo the introduction because I definitely did it in like a normal voice and my spooky voice. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I gotta re-record that part.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
okay. Hey, that's all right. You can redo it. No big deal.
I got you. I got you. I'm hoping I can get it to you by like next week, at least like the introduction
Okay.
chapter one
Sure, yeah.
by next week, so like you can
I'd
at
love that.
least listen to them.
Perfect. Sounds good. Sounds like a great plan. Okay, did you want to meet next week, same time? Is this time
Oh,
good for you usually?
yeah, because Monday's the 23rd, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah. I should have time Monday. Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Alrighty, so same time then. I'll see ya next Monday.
All right, copy
Bye,
that.
MacArthur. Have a good one.
Bye. You as well.